Welcome again. This year, unfortunately, we don't have the chance to see each of you face to face physically, but as we shape up to be the world's first smart nation, this is going to be the new normal moving forward. If you have a pen and paper, please take it up because I'm going to give you some hot off the press survey numbers that includes Singapore within the whole survey. Firstly, we are here to talk about, digitalize your business strategically for the next future. Before we can do that, and before I invite the panel speakers to start their presentation and then the fire chat, let me give you a few of these interesting figures that I have uncovered just yesterday. Now, to the question, did COVID accelerate digital communications? The answer is an astounding yes, but by how much? By an average of 6 years. So if people were thinking that they would only embark on digital transformation or digital communication 6 years from today, guess what? They're doing it now. And 97% of it said, of the respondents said that. So it's not your, bordering numbers. These are huge numbers. And 95% of the respondents actually said they are seeking new ways to engage customers. And with us are panelists that will talk about how they can help SMBs like yourself be engaging customers, not just in Singapore, but globally as well. And 92% thinks that digital communication is extremely critical to address current challenges, current business challenges, right? So we all know that we are forced into, in a good way, digitally transform our business, but a lot of times it is also a decision whether we survive tomorrow or we thrive. But it doesn't come without barriers. Now, a lot of the companies, 37% of the companies said they are lack of a clear strategy. And equally, 37% of them say we are in the process of getting approval. And I don't want to go through all the numbers, but I'm going to pick up the important ones. 79%. Now, if your bosses are not giving you that, just tell them that the whole world is, right? 79% said that COVID has increased their budget for digital transformation. Because if not, you don't even have a company to transform the next day. And they will, 92% expand digital communications, and 53% will add new channels. Now, I would foresee that the new channels would somewhat be digital based. So with that as a background, I would first like to introduce the first speaker, Professor Tan Zihui. And Professor Tan was appointed on May 2020 as the Assistant CE, Chief Executive, of the newly established Enterprise Division of A*STAR. Comprising of Industry Development Group and Accelerate Technologies Private Limited. Professor Tan leads the Enterprise Division in steering efforts to translate A*STAR R&D to market so as to enable research field economic and social impact. With that, Professor Tan, could I hand over it to you then? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel, and I hope everyone can hear me clearly. And also want to thank SMEICC for the honor to be able to participate in this very important session, because I think all of us are experiencing unprecedented impact by COVID in our personal life, in our work life, and even in society as well. But I think the thing that we probably are doing together is the fact that definitely there's a promise that we will overcome this. There's a lot of progress in the world, in the vaccine and the drugs, and I think it's just that in the meantime, this has created a huge crisis, with which in Chinese we call 危机。危机也是一个机会啦。So I were looking at the people coming in, and we're still having people streaming in, and I was just suggesting that with Daniel, initially we're supposed to start some poll questions to look at your profile, but maybe we'll combine it a bit later as we have more people coming in as well. Okay, if that's fine. Chris, you got it right. So let's start with my slides, please. So thank you so much. What I'm going to spend in the next 20 minutes is to share with all of you that there is a huge opportunity now because of COVID. This has forced everyone to look at how things have changed from the way in which we need to look at can we use technology to overcome the challenges we face, and as we are starting to experience what we call a low touch, that means 比较少接触的那个机会还是可以继续生存，可以继续做生意，可以继续交流了。I think that's actually very important for us, and that's a lot of hope. And we have examples of companies that have done very well. Next slide, please. So we see that even before COVID, there is a lot of change coming across the world. We see the rise of the trade tension with Asia and global trade flows. We start to see quite a fair bit of pervasiveness of digitalization, 数码与数字化的转化. We start to see even climate change and sustainability being very important, and now how natural disasters is actually also forcing us to rethink business model, and even for us looking at even supply chain resilience. I think the only thing is the change is only constant 唯一不变的状况就是改变但是我们需要怎么样面对这个危机 and is this an opportunity for us? Next slide, please. We can see that this has impacted almost all sectors, all industry, you know, and 全部的企业都会被影响. I mean, retail, tourism, aviation, trade flow, logistics, even retail services, even healthcare services has been affected because people stay at home. They don't get able to expose themselves to flu. So in fact, the visits to the GP clinics has actually come down by almost 30–40%. But I think this has actually shifted the fact that we can see how COVID has increased the prevalence of this trends, and we think that this is something that companies have to respond if they need to use the opportunity online to continue with their business. Over. Next slide, please. We have seen even Mr. Chan Chun Sing, as he was sharing about the update to the GDP last week, that the changes are here to stay. And it's unlikely that we will go back to pre-COVID world that soon, even though we think that the vaccine may come out in about 6 to 12 months' time. Some sectors will recover, but some sectors will be permanently changed. I think the challenge is really how do we rebuild a new economy. And I think our companies will also have to adjust and conduct yourselves and compete very differently as well. Next slide, please. So this drives the point that companies have to actively seek out opportunity. 在危机里寻找机会啦. Then we have to make use that actually with digitization, with infocom tools and new business model, it actually gives a whole new opportunity because you're able to go into new markets, you're able to provide new services and products, and you can actually overcome the physicality as well, you know, and actually the faster we adapt, I think we really can recover faster as well. 就是说，假如我们可以明日把握这个机会找这个新的态度这个规划，我们可以比较快速的恢复这个营业了。Next slide, please. So there is opportunity that we can see by digitalization, as this can help us connect to new customers. the digital border is actually worldwide. There is actually even new markets. With data, you can actually get better understanding of your customers' needs. You can also better understand how you can position. You can even customize your product offering to a smaller group of customers very quickly as well. You can communicate them much faster, and you can definitely improve the efficiency and productivity. And with that, I guess we will have a first set of questions to poll among all of you. Let's start the first poll as well.
Okay. Prof Tan, the poll is run ready for poll number 1. Yep.
Yeah. So please feel free to come in. I saw a comment. Yes, I apologize that I was using a bit of Mandarin because there is a traditional large Mandarin speaking audience for forums like this, but I will try to make it balanced and make it as I'm just repeating what I'm speaking in English in Mandarin. So for the purpose of some of you asking.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, now let's proceed to the second poll. Yep. So this question is actually about what sort of digitalization you believe will help your business to stay resilient moving forward. Yep. So we'll take another 20 seconds just to run through this poll. Hope everybody can just help to participate and engage. Yep. Okay, just another 10 more seconds. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for active participation. Prof Tan, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Chris. And let's move to the next slide. So these are some examples, I think, from our local companies that they have used digitization to continue with the way they do the business. For example, even a wet market store has used online auction. I think we've seen about this to actually market their live fish. In fact, it was very popular, I understand. The second is the company on the right bottom, 328 Laksa. This is a very famous local food store that has used digital to take online orders and e-payment. And on the bottom left corner is another company, Million Parcel. They have digitized their accounting process, which actually saved time and manpower costs. I think these are promising examples of how our companies have taken advantage of the platforms to enable them to pivot as well. Next slide, please. Why are we doing this? Because I think that it's important that the government has to help provide the capabilities for the enterprises that are in Singapore to leverage upon the investments that's been made in R&D. And A*STAR, as the national R&D organization under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, aims to provide the support for companies in their science and technology journey. And a major part of this is about the digital tech as well. Next slide. And we have a broad suite of capabilities among our 20 research institutes, covering from electronics to digital to medical technology and life sciences to chemicals, urban green tech, engineering, and even food, nutrition, personal care. We have over 4,500 research scientists, and constantly we also second our researchers up to the local SMEs to help them absorb the know-how and develop new products and services going out. Over the last 6 months, A*STAR has also been stepping up to help the government in combating COVID-19. And some of this, I guess you have also seen. Next slide, please. From the left, we have also work with the healthcare groups that are watching and helping the migrant workers in their care facility on their health, and we developed a Telegram chatbot to help them monitor their symptoms and also to keep them informed of the status and in multilingual languages as well as in C, Dr. COVID. And on the center, we actually helped to show the importance of wearing a mask. And I think you may be familiar, if you see the white color mask there, that was actually part of the National Day gift pack. This was actually done between one of A-Star Institute, SIMTech, and a local SME, Ramatex. And this actually had been very popular, we understand, and is one of the most comfortable in terms of breathing mask that's reusable as well. And of course, you're very familiar that A-Star, together with our hospitals, came up with our version of test kits to help ability for us to be able to have our own resource to test as many people as possible. And in fact, we are starting to even automate the process so that we can increase the throughput of the testing for everyone in Singapore. Moving next slide, please. And you can see that this is part of the various work stream that we helped to many companies, starting from the top left-hand corner, where we really help companies to first strategize what is their journey to be able to develop a new product and service for the model and market they go in through road mapping exercise. And then we offer to the clockwise side, to the collaborative marketplace, to allow companies to meet their fellow perhaps business partners through a LinkedIn type of a platform by which business-to-business partnership can be met, such that if they need to find a vendor for their products or vendor for certain services, this allows the B2B aspect to be connected. On the bottom right-hand corner, we also provide ready-to-go technology that is able to be adopted. And if the companies need to have access to equipment, we have also the ability and support to them in the seconding of staff up, provide access to A-Star's equipment and training, and also a lot of guidance as a journey goes. And this is something that we do constantly for hundreds of companies on an annual basis. Next slide, please. So some of these you can see that in the A-Star Collaborative Commerce Marketplace at ACCM, over 1,000 companies have come in. This is becoming very, very popular now because I think a lot of physical meetings are not possible. People are starting to use this, and we encourage you to find out more and sign up so that you can get to know which vendors are there. And some of them are also from outside Singapore as well. We have also constantly uplifted the companies by the secondment of our scientists to help companies develop product and solution. And it is a journey by which we will walk together with you. And if you need assistance, we also partner with our sister agency, ESG, to come in. At this point in time, ACCM is free, so you don't need to think about the cost. This is really part of what we do to provide access and connectivity as well. Thank you for the constant question I can see and try to answer as we go live. Next slide, please. So these are some good examples of companies that have tapped upon the schemes that A-Star have provided. For example, Sky5 Technologies on the top left-hand corner, with a road mapping exercise that we help them to do, they're able to grow their revenue very impressively over 2 years. And this is something that they're very proud to share with all of you. On the bottom left-hand corner, we also helped 2 different companies. One is actually Enhance Com to digitize their clients' workflow. And this has actually improved their revenue. And Tunity, a well-known local company that have deployed the RFID technology package that they have gone into over 50 projects and helped them to grow. On the right-hand side, these are also the list of companies that have benefited from us in many ways. I think there's some interest in ACCM, so I'll just talk about two companies below. There is Fucacia Creative that have helped 4 partners with the manufacturing of their smart tester display. This is a very good outcome. And the other one is AEI. They have also helped MNC to partner in manufacturing of the UV face masks in Singapore as well. There are a lot more examples than this that we can actually share. But I think within ACMs, there is a whole list of examples, and you can actually look at which sector you are interested in, what are the capabilities that you are interested to connect. And in fact, if there's a sector that doesn't have companies in there, we can help you create a cluster in there so that you can grow your network and the value chain over. Next slide, please. One thing that we also want to share, that the way we work with our local companies is not just by A-Star alone, but we also bring in our university together, because sometimes the capability may not be within our institute. So one interesting example here is a local tea retail company, and they were trying to find a way to differentiate themselves, by which they are hoping that they can prove to their customers that the quality of their tea, is much better, and it's the provenance, the provenance of the supply chain is real. So we actually help them develop fingerprinting technology and even machine learning prediction, so that they can actually help their customers know clearly if this certain tea extract, how does it taste. And in fact, it also is protected from counterfeit type of product as well. I think this is a very good example that they have done, and they put everything on their smart device platform so that you can actually find for yourself as a consumer as well. Next slide, please. So I think we have to understand what's next. COVID-19 has really uncovered quite a niche of areas of growth, such as in meeting demand. And this session that we're in now is a good example of how we have managed to use Zoom, for example, as a means for online meetings and even collaboration. And the company actually has seen exponential growth across the world for its services as well. We also have seen that as a result of COVID, companies are also stepping up in terms of testing, stepping up in terms of cleaning. They're also stepping out in terms of automation. And these are huge opportunity that is not just in demand in Singapore, but these are solutions that can be exported outside Singapore as well. And we also feel that some of the other areas involve new business model, and some of this new business model involve like e-commerce platforms, even what you call augmented reality virtualization platform. We have seen people conducting fitness training, conducting even the what you call that the housing agents doing their product offering virtually. We have seen even quite a fair bit of electronic transaction for e-payment being adopted very fast, even in the web markets as well. I think this is a huge opportunity by which, as what Daniel said earlier, COVID has accelerated adoption for many of this technology by 6 years. This is very, very amazing, because if you don't adapt, you will not get the business. You don't get a business, you know that you can't survive. And this is now a very important situation for us to use these tools. And these tools are all very easily accessible. I think that's the advantage of this. Next slide, please. So I think that we also have to realize that it is a fact that it starts from the realization that you have to rethink your business model, and also you have to look at what the needs, your customer needs as well, so that you can actually reiterate much faster. And you also can understand that what is the magic formula here. I think it is one in which there's a lot of fast reiteration and fast experimentation, and each sector is actually unique, and each sector has its own different business consideration as well. And I think together with Chamber, I think we also want to help as many of you as possible as you are trying to embark on this journey. And therefore, the issue here is about speed. Do you want to expect the market to come to you, or do you have to go and capture the market by your drive and by your attempt to be aggressive? I think the traditional established innovation cycle, of which you do a little experiment, you then try to do a test market, and then you scale up, I think it's too slow. People are just putting the project, the pilot up, and see how the market responds and pivoting constantly. I think this is the way we have to do it, and we can actually transform ourselves very well. So moving to the last slide, and just before I end this, maybe we'll run the third series of poll questions. Chris, we can do this now.
We are actually running the last set of polling questions. Once again, to the audience, please actively engage so that we can actually take the response, right, and actually have a discussion later at the fireside chat. Yep. We'll probably just leave this set of questions up for another 20 seconds. Yep. Okay, probably another 5 more seconds. Yep. Thank you everyone for your participation. Yep.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And as I conclude my sharing, I think what is important to emphasize today, and this is also in line with DPM Heng's message yesterday for what the government is doing. I think we are committed to support our companies during this very difficult period. And A-Star also stands ready to support our companies in their innovation journey. There are various government agencies listed here that can help. The Smart Nation program to help push businesses to digitize quickly. The Enterprise Leadership for Transformation ELT that can bring together industry experts at the institutes of higher learning and financial institutes to help enterprise leaders develop and implement their business growth plans. The various SME centers to help provide customized and in-depth support, including those operated by SMEICC, and also the Executive in Residence program launched by the Trade Association and Chambers to engage experienced executives to assist companies and industry in their business productivity and growth plans. I hope this gives a holistic view of where we are today and how we feel that we have confidence of overcoming the current COVID crisis. And in fact, I think this is an opportunity for all of us to face and move forward together as well. With that, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Tan. In fact, very, very, how should I say, information rich. I think one of the challenges that, and Chris, can I do a time check so that I know, how to balance the questions?
Sure, Daniel. I think we have only about 15 minutes left, so we may
Okay,
actually
great.
there's quite a number of Q&A. Probably we might
Yep.
want to look into that to address. Yeah.
Yes, I'm looking at it right now. But I just want to say this, right? Many a times, I think we should be, as Singaporeans and Singapore businesses, be proud of how supportive government is. Government is a very, very, business-friendly government. Now, it is already after election, so I'm not doing any, rallying for any parties whatsoever. But we have to recognize that. The other part that we need to recognize is the role we play as businesses in this whole context. One of the questions, Prof. Tan, is the ACCM program is indeed a very good one. Unfortunately, one of the questions was they don't know what they don't know. How do they therefore find out more about such programs and ACCM in particular?
Well, in fact, this is why we have to constantly promote. We started this only about 2 years back, and the traditional sectors that was focused on was really the manufacturing sector and the precision engineering. And we started to open up over about a year ago, and actually brought in quite a lot of trade association chambers, including SMEICC, to help us market. And I was very surprised when I was preparing this slide and asking my team, what's the latest update? Wow, I was surprised that in just 6 months, we just increased another 50%. And it goes to show that it is awareness that we are still trying to promote. And through this platform, I think we will definitely get the word out. And it's really two things. Is the platform is only useful if it is able to serve and connect you to your business partner. The second is that I think we also want to help the various companies that are providing their information to be accredited as well, so that you know that this is actually a reliable company that you can actually talk to as well. And this is where we are going to start introducing a rating system like what you have in LinkedIn and Facebook. It's a set of rating by your peers, and in fact, we are starting to also look at expanding this out to the service sector as well, because I think within Singapore, we see that there is currently a need for such a portal. That's why I use the term linking. People understand linking. Linking is individual marketing yourself, companies finding for individuals. But B2B, I think there's still not that many. And I think this is definitely a very useful platform. And our team here is really to reach out to many of you if you want to find out more. And SMEICC can also help to point you to the website to be linked as well.
Yeah, I think with all these great resources and all that, it'll be a shame that people don't know how to access it, right? And I think the follow-on question to that would be, even if they know how to access it, and I'm not talking down to any companies, just being mindful that having the experience of serving Chinese Chamber for the last 20 plus years, we have progressed and evolved a lot. But nonetheless, there'll still be companies out there that say, I don't know what I want. Is there any facility within A-Star that could actually help to map what they want and then be able to tell them this is what you do and here is the help available?
Oh, definitely. We have a team within A-Star that supports the SME community, and you can reach out to us directly. In fact, we do a lot of joint seminars and workshops with the Trade Association of Chambers, including SMEICC, in the reach out. And actually, the first step is first to understand what you don't know, okay? That's the first step. Because most of the people who come to us either they are self-informed and they already know what they want, they're very specific for certain technology and want our help to help them develop a product, or those who are still starting the journey of innovation. For those who are starting innovation, what we are starting to do more with the Trade Association is to get their peers to help to inform them. It's like in school, you try to get someone who can guide you around. At least you're a bit, you don't feel so lost, And
Yep.
it's actually the peer support for our community we want to encourage more. because
it's like a buddying system in the sense.
Right? Correct. It's very correct. It's not just buddy lah. It's really a community that we have come together, because we are not competing within Singapore. It's not the Singapore market that we are competing. We are competing into an international market, and in international market, trust is very important. Reliability is very important. How do you go into a market with people who have gone in there, understand the challenges, understand the network? And this is what we are starting to do a lot, especially in A-Star, working very closely with ESG and with working with chambers, because I think there's a huge opportunity outside Singapore, especially in Southeast Asia, within Asia, that we need to go out as a pack, and the government is encouraging more and more companies to partner to go out, because when you go out, then you can look after each other lah.
Yep.
I mean, that is the forward narrative that we are constantly promoting.
SG, united for the world.
That's correct.
You, in our earlier discussion, Prof, you talk about can SME tap into A-Star Global Network? And one of the questions here, I shan't mention the name, was saying that the component that was touched on, like process and infrastructure, kind of, I won't say a given, but the easier side of the supply side of the business. The more difficult the person felt was the critical components, such as how to increase demand in the market, for example, marketing, new leads generation, how to acquire new customers. Is there any initiative within A-Star that would help them in doing that?
That's a very good question. And we have noticed that we have tried to help our companies actually leverage upon our technology and try to bring them to into external markets. And some have some of the companies were successful. Some actually were still navigating because they don't have the domain sector experience and the network. What we have done in the last 3 years is creating for manufacturing the model factories. And in the model factories, we have two, one in SIMTech and one in ERTC. We actually bring in end user companies. These are the multinational big boys. And a lot of time now, because many of these companies are starting to embark on Industry 4.0, and they do not have the solution. And they are working with A-Star, with Singapore, to co-innovate the solution, by which we bring in the local SMEs as a potential solution provider, so that in this process, you actually, in fact, it was featured in my slides, Arcstone is a local SME. They came in as a Singapore company together with us and a large multinational to develop a solution for a line. And the line belonged to one multinational, in which when it got deployed out of Singapore into the company's Japan plants and China plants, the Singapore company benefited because they can become a part of the vendor, qualified vendor. So we are doing more of this because we have a lot of large global multinationals in Singapore. They use Singapore as their control tower for logistics, for manufacturing, for sourcing. And now they're also working within Singapore to help to co-innovate. And they're also quite keen to see if they can actually develop a local sourcing supply chain. And this is where I think our Singapore companies can benefit quite a bit, because you definitely need to have a channel access, and this is how we are facilitating that.
Okay. I think, in many of the previous discussions as well, many of the SMBs feel that a lot of these programs are geared towards companies with a certain turnover, certain volume, certain number of people. What is A-Star's initiative in helping the S of the SME, like the really small ones where it's called, one person do everything. This person does marketing, operations, production, and so on and so forth. With a sizable workforce, that's possible. But if they are running everything by one person, how can A-Star help?
I think this is where we work very closely with ESG, and we try to have
ESG being Enterprise Singapore.
That's right, Enterprise Singapore, in having a bespoke program by which some of this can be better served with our schemes such as Tech Depot, where these are more ready-to-go solution that the companies that are quite lean are able to just take it and run. Like, it's like you go Challenger, you know what to buy, you take it and you do yourself lah. And especially with many digital solutions, it's all cloud-based. The cost is actually much more affordable now than 20 years ago. It's all subscription as a service. So there's actually, by leveraging many of this method, your overheads actually can come down quite a bit, And I think this is where we are trying to encourage many local companies to rethink about how they are set up, and can you run on a lean mode, especially a service site, and leveraging on other partners instead of having all vertically integrated as well.
Okay. So I think we always talk about helping companies to grow. I think in this period of time, unfortunately, it's also helping companies to survive. I think we know statistics, which I will not, regurgitate here, on how many of our companies in Singapore have gone the other way, as in, closing down the business and so on and so forth. How could we therefore, not just address a nation of 5.6 million people? How could A-Star help in bridging the gap in bringing Singapore companies to the world, and in so doing the world to those companies?
This is where I think we are leveraging upon the government's linkage with the trade agreements, and also re-establishing especially now, how to get air borders open up again, because you have to do business face to face, and you can use Zoom, but you still have to try to facilitate the flow. And we will also work very closely with Enterprise Singapore, and also with our sister agency EDB, and also our Singapore embassies across the world, to help many of the companies go out as well. Definitely, I think that there are quite a lot of interest in what Singapore can offer, because we have shown that we are quite cohesive in the way we come together in solving COVID, but we are also using our technologies to pivot out constantly, so that actually the social, the economic aspects can be overcome faster as well. And Singapore, even up to today, has a very good branding for quality, for safety, for efficiency. I think this is where the company of Singapore can leverage upon this Singapore branding to market yourself overseas as well.
Let me wrap it up, and maybe Prof could give a final statement. From what I'm seeing on the questions and all that, it seems that many of us do not know what we do not know. So I guess, Chris, if I may, maybe Chamber would be a conduit for all our participants to find out more about what A-Star can offer, and then you could link it back to them. The second thing is to put the monkey back on the participants' back as well, in the sense that don't just wait for the government or A-Star to tell you what to do, but very much to come up with the ideas, and then leverage and find out and leverage what A-Star and other government agencies could do to help you, make that dream come true. So, Prof, with that, thank you so much. Any last words?
Yeah, I think do you want to just run through the poll questions very quickly, just for the audience who have participated? Chris, can we just run the questions?
Yeah. Which one do you want us to show? Poll 1, 2, or 3?
Or can we just quickly show 1, 2, or 3?
Sure. Let me just show number 1 first.
Okay. Right. Okay. There's quite a big number from the service side. Yeah. Good. Yep. Let's see. Can we go down the screen? Okay, we can see, and majority 70% are from SMEs, and readiness. Yeah, I think it's quite equal across the board. Level 1, level 2 is about 25%. So you can see that 1/5 looking at basic digital solution, and 1/3 is looking at ready to go. And in fact, close to half are looking at advanced digital solutions. So that's actually very interesting, Daniel. They are interested to really go above the bread and butter type of tech. I think that's promising.
Probably because the government has already rolled out a lot of initiatives to push the basic adoption for digitalization for the past 10 years. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
let's
you
look
won't see this 5 years ago, Prof. Tan.
No, I know. I've been involved in this event every year. It's a good trend. In fact,
it is
okay,
a good trend.
let's look at the last set of questions. Okay. In fact, this answer to question one is very also in line with the trend we're seeing. They're starting to look at differentiation, unique product and services up to more than half. They need help to have effective strategy. Good. That means OTR that we are doing will be of importance to many of you, and also co-innovation. Thank you so much for your response on the poll. And I also want to just respond very quickly to one of a participant that A-Star, under the new leadership since last April, has also got the whole A-Star to focus on local enterprises as well, and to also help to provide a lot more support and assistance. So please come back and talk to my team again, and we will offer as much as we can for your needs. Thank you.
Thanks, Prof. Tan. Take care. Keep safe. Okay, next we have our second speaker, just speeding along, is Mr. Logan Tan. Logan is a hands-on Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and co-founder of, I hope I pronounced this right, Easy.sg.
Start his video first.
With expertise in business development, supply chain, operations, procurement, and finance, very rich experience. Through strategic foresight, drive, and determination, he and his two co-founders built Easy in 2017, so quite a young company. Singapore's largest B2B marketplace. So this is to some of the questions earlier that most of the initiatives is focused on B2C. I hope Logan will help you understand how to get to the B2B marketplace for industrial and business supply. So today, Easy is driving ecosystem that transform businesses by simplifying B2B procurement with technology. So another Mr. Tan.
Hello, everyone.
All yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Logan, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Easy. Thanks, Daniel and SCCI for doing this event and inviting me along as a speaker. So I guess a lot of you must be wondering, just now I saw some Q&A about how can we help B2B? And I'm heartened to see that, because a lot of digital solutions out in the market are actually B2C centric, and that's what we envision to resolve as well. So just a little bit of background about ourselves. Thanks, Mr. Daniel, for listing that out. Just give me a moment. Okay. So like, what is Easy? Like, a lot of people may have heard of us, may not have heard of us. We are a small company, and we have been around since 2017. And I'll go deeper into what we do later on. But just a bit of history and a bit of story about what we do for SMEs. So the reason why I found Easy was that previously in my role, I was the head of procurement in a large construction company. Actually, I was handling finance and procurement, and I realized that why isn't there like a better way to buy things from my suppliers, especially things like your safety helmet, very low value items, but you buy every day in a day-to-day operations, taking up a lot of time. And I thought of utilizing e-commerce as a way to procure. But same like all of you here, right? I realized that a lot of the solutions out there, whether be it Lazada, Q10 and whatnot, they are centric towards consumers. And that being said, the seller ecosystem are also individuals like me and you. Maybe we have a side hustle. We want to, sell on Lazada. Maybe every day after your work, you go back and pack and ship out the items. Something not scalable, just a side hustle. And I realized that there was lack of business ecosystem where we can allow and facilitate trade between businesses, right? For sellers to sell more efficiently without going through quotations, emails and calls, but more of a digital channel where people can click and purchase, right? And but after interviewing with some of our suppliers back in my previous role, I realized that a lot of them, they want to digitalize. They recognize the need to digitalize, but they couldn't and don't know how to do it. And that's what got me thinking. With my experience, my knowledge of digital experience, I thought about how about I can create a digital marketplace a bit more centric towards B2B. And of course, we are very focused on industrial hardware and supplies. I understand that some of you are from the service provider kind of sector, and I'll touch a bit more on that and some of our initiative going towards services. But essentially, in short, what we are trying to build is an Amazon for businesses, right? And currently, to date, we have over 8,000 over buyer accounts with 50 over 1,000 successful transactions and over 100,000 products readily available. We have came a long way, and of course, we still got a long way more to go. Like with the help of with you, we hope to be able to help you guys. So a lot of people, a lot of suppliers, the partners that we work with, they always ask us like, what is the value proposition of Easy and what are we trying to solve, right? And I believe a lot of you have tried to digitalize, at least coming out with a web page or at a minimum, or even coming out with your own e-commerce in advance and app, right? I have suppliers who have spent about 100 to 200,000 just to build an app. But eventually, after 3 years, they decided to scrap it. So there are a lot of challenges when it comes to adopting digital solutions, and whether it be outsourced or in-house built, there are tons of like problems that I would like to go through in this particular segment. So these are the for you all to imagine how you guys can come up with your own e-commerce, whether it be website or app. Right. First, you have to go through a planning phase, right? You have to plan a particular budget. How much can you invest, right? For e-commerce and digital marketing. That will probably take you a month, right? And just now, Daniel and Prof Tan have actually said, you don't know what you don't know, right? And how do you build a platform for your clients if you don't know what they want, right? Especially a lot of you have been, 20, 30 years in the traditional retailing experience or traditional selling experience. The digital way has a lot of hurdles for you to cross and trying to learn new things. And that includes like you probably investing a sum of money into it and learning that it did not work out in the end. And a lot of times, I would say 99% of our suppliers actually did go through this process, and eventually they gave up. So we came in and we helped them with it. So we are not saying that we help you to create your own e-commerce, but I'll explain a bit more about how we help you later on. And then you move on to the next process where we have a design phase, right? You have to design how the website is going to feel like, what kind of payment system you're going to use, and that will probably take you a month. And then you select a vendor, the vendor will help you to develop as per what you tell them. Maybe it might not be the right product, but the vendor will charge you a fee. And all this, all in all, will take you about 5,000 to 20,000. If you're lucky, you can get it at a lower rate and you can find good vendors. But many times, the vendors out there may not give you the best experience, which is what we have experienced with some of our suppliers. And of course, after you've gone through all the phase, then the last phase is actually you have a beautiful decorated online web portal, right? But if you don't, market it, nobody knows, right? And how do you rank on Google? How do you market it out on Facebook? So how all this comes at a cost and comes at a know-how. And there's a lot more elements to it where we can, as Easy, we can help you. And of course, there are maintenance costs, right? If you want to do it, if you want your outsourced vendor to sort of help you on a daily basis or a monthly basis, they'll charge you a fee to change certain buttons, how it's going to be like, and iterate your platform along. And it will be very expensive, but well-deserved experience for you guys who have gone through it. So what is Easy, right? So we envision as a marketplace where if you onboard our platform, it's free of charge. So my first initiative when I first started business, in order for you to go online, it has to be free of charge, because that's how I interview some of my suppliers back in my previous role. And I realized that some SMEs don't have money, right? They don't have time and they don't have the know-how. And so how can I use my know-how, create a platform where I know what the buyers want and how the platform is going to feel and like how the process is going to be like. But also at the same time, be free of charge for suppliers to go online and list their products. So that's how we build our platform, and it has been well received so far. So and easy, who are our client base, right? We have 3 main industry sectors, and of course there's more, right? We mainly serve MRO buyers in marine, oil and gas, healthcare. And some of you might be wondering that why marine and oil and gas? They must be the badly hit sector, right? And that is mainly because during this downtime, a lot of large corporations, they have the time and resources to do transformation. And we see that trend. And of course, if you want to know more about buyer base, we are happy to share, over a call or over an email, just to show you, like during this period, actually once COVID began, we have seen a rise of these people from this industry trying to transform the way they buy things. And one of them actually told me that if you come to them during their peak hours or their peak period, they will never have entertained the thought of transformation because they are busy growing their business and there are so many other projects that they are focusing on. And of course, they're like being a digital marketplace, we are able to target any particular segment. And healthcare is actually one of the hottest segments that during this COVID era. So we have served like large pharmaceutical companies for their purchase of gloves, their masks, and laboratory items. And this market in itself in Singapore is estimated to reach about 15.9 billion. And we don't want to just be in Singapore, right? And we are talking about international. I'll touch a bit more on the international segment later on. But these are the 3 main categories on the right-hand side they have seen. If you want to know the full range of categories, please go on to our portal, easy.sg, and you'll see we even sell things like office supplies, your medical instruments, etc. So we are very product-centric. Yeah. So the idea of Easy, we hope to serve as a bridge, not just to large enterprise buyers, but also marketplace buyers. We hope to create a platform that's easy to use both on the seller side and on the buyer side, right? If you are individuals buying, let's say, to claim from the company, you can create an account as simple as creating on Lazada. The idea is that we want to replicate the experience, but yet cater for the B2B segments. So, and we also have large corporation implementing Easy as the platform to go to source for products and to transact online. And that's where the businesses is going to be at, the buyer is going to be at, right? So we hope to be all procurement supplies needs in one place. The reason why we exist is that people can come to our portal and they can efficiently compare without calling or emailing suppliers, and they can select whatever vendors that they want, and they are able to have the products shipped to them in the very next day. So to date, we have 800 over verified suppliers. We are only in Singapore, but of course we have expansion plan going overseas. And all these suppliers we have worked for a long time with direct integration into their ERP system as well, where we can take note of their stock items and display them on our portal. So as mentioned earlier, we hope to function as a bridge between sellers and buyers. And the reason why we exist is a main thing in business trade, right? It's about trust. How can I go to Lazada to buy from unverified suppliers or individuals that are selling this pilot pen, but it may be imported, it may not be authentic. So our role here is to facilitate authentic products from verified suppliers to our legitimate sources, businesses in Singapore, where they can purchase through this e-commerce platform. So we hope that by doing this, we can create a safe environment for businesses to trade. Of course, not just in Singapore, but hopefully in near future, there will be globally as well. So a lot of people also ask me, why should I digitalize? I believe COVID have sort of changed a lot of mindset towards digitalization and priorities towards digitalization. But a lot of times, people do ask me, so how can I differentiate myself? Like just now, one of the poll question is, a lot of you are looking into differentiation of products. And as the world is getting smaller, not because the borders are, the borders are closing up or we are getting, the fact is that the world is getting more and more digitalized. So it's a matter of time where, like we can sell efficiently to China, to US through digital channels. And now is the right time for your company to actually transform and go towards the digital future. And we have done a survey along with some of the marketing agency, and a lot of time these buyers, what they're looking for in future as more graduates come out and enter procurement roles, they're looking into the value beyond price. If you are competing just on price, then you have to be the cheapest in the online world, right? Like, but it's the value that you bring to your buyers. What kind, whether is it superior product quality, whether be it certain certification in certain industry like pharmaceutical, or whether be it once you buy you can ship in an hour, right? All these are services and value that is beyond price, as well as shorter sales cycle, where they want a more efficient channel, not just calling and waiting for quotation for multiple days, right? Sometimes sending out quotation and aligning the expectation of the product or services can take you days, right? Where the calls beyond calls, emails beyond emails. But how can you standardize the product, put it on an online portal? People can self-serve themselves, right? You don't need to spend time on, entertaining quotations on emails, right? And of course, actually one of our large enterprise buyer, we just had ended a call yesterday, and one of the way that they verify their suppliers is that they have better digital capabilities. And this is one of the components that they feel that is important for them to have a long-term partnership with their suppliers, and they must have digital vision towards the future. And that's one of their assessment. And that's actually quite insightful, because that's where your buyer is going to be at. And of course, we are not here to replace entirety in like just now what Prof. Tan and Daniel have said. B2B is still face-to-face. And how we become just one of the channel where you can sell to the enterprises or the buyers. But it's a combination of your company. In terms of sales strategy, there will always be traditional, where it's face-to-face. If it's a bigger, contract value, you might want to, do a face-to-face. You cannot get rid of that. And as we just become one of the channel where you can connect with some of your buyers and efficiently. Yeah. So by 2030, of course, the survey has also said that 75% of procurement spend will be digital. Whether it be through the tendering portal, I believe all of you are familiar with GBIS, or whether it be through an e-commerce portal like us. So just to conclude what I've covered earlier, 3 points for you guys to take away. One is that we are a portal that have ready to buy clients, whether it be large enterprise, small SMEs, or individuals like yourself. As long as they want to buy these products, you are able to sell to them and reach to more ready to buy clients without you generating quotations and all that. Secondly, we create a seamless, easy to digitalize platform where it's a 5-minute process of you registering. And a lot of all these B2B platforms require you to fill forms after forms after forms. We just streamline everything to the most critical element of verifying a business, and then we make the experience simple, even for the seller side. So we are very obsessed with that, and we still preach that to this day. The third part is that to make your daily operations smoother, like I mentioned earlier, like if people just want to buy one product, maybe below $100 or $1,000, you may not want to spend so much time. You want to prioritize the bigger deals, right? So a lot of the sellers actually use our portal as the way that they can facilitate trade between the smaller value transactions. And that helps to make their daily operations smoother, mainly because they don't have to entertain the quotation. They don't have to spend like half an hour creating a quotation on an ERP system, if they even have one, if not Excel sheet, and then save it in a PDF, right? So they just send their link or their online store to the client, and if they buy, it's a straight away an immediate purchase without any additional effort. So these 3 pointers that I want you guys to take away. And I'll move on to the next segment, right? Like, of course, on the seller side, we have the digital needs. On the buyer side as well, many of the buyers, what we have discovered is that they're using different procurement system, whether it be the government using GBIS, or whether be it some other platforms using Sesame and Tenderboard. There are all these variable platforms where you can sell to different companies. But us as a portal, we work with these platforms to streamline all the flow into one place. And eventually, you as a seller, you connect to Easy, you're able to market to all these companies. So previously, if you even have your own IT department or outsourced IT vendor, it's typically quite time consuming for you to cater to the needs of different systems. It's technically difficult, right? You don't understand the technology behind it somehow. API integration, I believe some of you have heard about it. API integration, all these are tedious, technically difficult process, right? And it's labor intensive. You have to do calls after calls to come up with the requirement. But yet at Easy, we have an in-house development team where we do concentrate on API integration with multiple different procurement systems, whether be it like is Sesame, whether be it is Tenderboard. We are working with these companies, and there are large procurement software companies like SAP Ariba. SAP has been huge in the enterprise space, and we work with them to fully integrate our platform to their procurement system. And that's what we hope to bring as a value to you guys. And also, just now I also saw in the Q&A, how can us as a company help you guys? So I would say the very part of our success is that we understand what, and we go on the ground and understand what every SME really need and require. So first is like resources. Of course, we can't help you create your data, but we can guide you along to what is the ideal data profile. What is the ideal products that you guys will want to display online in particular? Some of you might have, taken pictures with table in the background or some items in the background. That's not ideal, right? And if you go to our portal, you realize one similarity. All the products have high resolution and white background because we understand how digital platform works and how to market products to your buyers, because they want to see, just the product itself with white background. It makes it more enticing, etc. So us as Easy, we really work with you along every step of the process, all the way to digitalization, right? And of course, even for delivery and payment, we have a team, account managers for you to reach out to in terms of if you need any help. And we have outsourced vendors. If you need to take photography, you need to do data entry, we have outsourced team that you can partner with them to do all that. Of course, that requires you to invest a little bit of time to do this. But we are not just a platform where we hands off, like, we give you a digital portal and you can self-service the portal. But what's important is that why we have been so successful is that we cater and we spend time with individual sellers, understand their product, understand their business and their challenges of how to go online, and guide them through every step of the process. And we are not doing this because like we're charging you a fee, right? Which is typically how it works. But we are doing this as a way that we provide value to suppliers and hope that we can see you guys as a partner that we can work together in future. So now, I believe there are a lot of service providers in the market. We are thinking of creating a service platform because our portal currently is more towards the product platform. And we hope that in future, we can cater more towards services. And definitely, if you guys will want to explore more and hope to be one of our first few vendors for a service platform, we're actually in negotiation with some of the larger enterprise where they are requesting for services. And we will understand what kind of service you provide and how to fit in, right? One of the example is we have actually worked with contracting companies, contractor companies, where they can provide installation for products. Let's say, for example, light bulb or replacement of your wire, or like maybe some offices, some of our clients, they want to buy the door hardware, the handle, but they also want the installation service. We actually partner with a service provider company to input their installation costs onto every single product. That's one of the things that we do for some of our services. And if there's enough demand, we will consider creating a separate platform just to serve the service, suppliers and SMEs. So do feel free to reach out to us. There are contact numbers below. and our team will actually reach out to you guys. So I've come to the end of my sort of presentation. Sorry, I think just one last part, right? Wait, let me see. Just one last part that I've forgot to cover. Just give me a moment. Okay, so like just now, as mentioned earlier, right? I think the world is getting smaller, and I think the main part of digitalization is able. The beauty of digitalization is able to facilitate as a bridge to connect with other digital ecosystem. So one example is recently, I'm not sure whether you guys have heard about this initiative. It's a government to government thing, and Easy has been proud to be part of this ecosystem where we connect easy suppliers, small and medium enterprises on our platform to Chinese businesses to buy their products, especially with the geopolitical situation between US and China. I believe Singapore stand to benefit from all this to serve as a proxy between the two countries. And I think that this is a huge opportunity. The platform has not been launched yet. We are doing the digital integration with them, and that could help you guys a lot more. This is one of the first initiative that we had, and we plan to expand that even more to other part of the region, whether it be the US, whether it be in China or Indonesia, some of the biggest market that we are still negotiating contracts and API integration. And that enable your products not just to be listed in Singapore, but also in overseas. And that's why I think it's really important that you guys leverage on this opportunity to go, and we will continue to work on your behalf, not just listing your product and that's it, right? Easy will continue work on your behalf to market your products elsewhere, because the only way we can be successful is that you be successful selling the products on our platform, have enough transactions, and we serve as a value partner to you, and you become, part of our ecosystem. Last part to end off, sorry. So the last part to end off, don't hear from us, right? If you need like reference check, hear from our experienced sellers that has been with us for a couple of years since our incorporation. And we have people from office supplies all the way down to mechanical sales, and they have sold products to even Russia through our platform. And that's the unique part about our platform. Once you're digital, it's all online, right? And of course, office supplies, they are one of our top seller in Easy platform. And yeah, we hope to really provide more values to more people, especially in the SMEICC ecosystem. Yeah. So yeah, we can continue on to the poll. I'm done with my presentation and happy to jump on the Q&A.
Thanks, Logan. That's very insightful. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have your first poll question. So if you could, Chris, you want to take over and run the poll questions?
Okay. Hi, audience. The poll is already running. So we have actually got 3 questions over here for you to, 4 questions. So we'll just take about 40 seconds just to, for everybody just to engage. Yeah, so that we can actually use it for the discussion later. We understand that there's a lot of Q&A questions, so probably we will try to answer as much Q&A as possible. But rest assured that if the questions are not answered over here, they will be passed on to Logan, and Logan will try to address them offline, and we'll send the reply to all of you after this session. Yep. Okay, let's keep it up for another 15 seconds. Yep. Okay, Daniel, over to you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. Logan, how are you?
Good.
One question that is floating in my mind, and I shall ask you this, and I'm sure in the minds of many participants, is how do you make money?
How do we make money? Okay, so we take a transaction fee, and this can be negotiable between categories. We understand that certain product categories have close to zero margin, right? Like they have very, very razor-thin margin. And like, for example, office supplies, right? We can, our key is to help the suppliers, and our key is to facilitate trade. So how do we make money is we're taking take commission for every successful transaction. So the more successful transaction you make on a platform, you become successful, we become successful, and we live on that. And that's how we invest in a lot of money upfront to market the products out there, whether it be on Google, whether it be on Facebook. We use resources to go and onboard more enterprise buyers, and like that's where how we make money. Yeah.
Well, first let me comment that being, for me as a marketer, good name, easy. Easy to remember,
easy to remember,
easy to use as well, right?
Yeah,
I am very happy to hear that you are going to be expanding to include services, because one of the things that a lot of Singapore companies, is good at is services. Services in integration, in marketing and all that. And I would certainly, for myself, look you up and see how we can first list my services on there, as a support and also as a way to hopefully win more business. You have also answered the question, because in your second last slide, that you also provide logistical support. Because a lot of people will say, okay, I give you a portal to list, but after that, you go and take care of yourself, right? You need to go and do the delivery and all that. So I just want to confirm that that is true. I know there's a bracket in there, fee. There is a fee included in the MOV thing. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, I'll touch on a little bit about that. Thanks for sharing that. So basically, in every B2B suppliers, right, I believe you guys have a minimum order value. So like, for example, it's $100. And if you can actually set this minimum order value on the portal, and if an enterprise buyer buy from our portal from your store above $100, you will deliver it for free. Some of you may not have, or it could be $1,000. You can set that within there. If it falls below, what happens is that we will charge the buyer, and we work with third-party logistic companies to ship the products. And
so it's automated.
It's automated. Yeah, it's automated. We are integrated with third-party logistics like Ninja Van, like so many other logistic companies, where it's scalable. Even if 100 or 1,000 companies were buying at a particular time, we have the network ready to ship these products in an ad hoc basis, which some of the companies they cannot, right? Like imagine you have 2 or 3 trucks, which is typically how it works in a product-based company. 2 or 3 trucks, they may not be able to serve a certain capacity every day. And that's how we come in to help you on the lower frequency orders, or the lower value orders. Yeah.
You call Easy a B2B e-commerce platform.
Yeah.
What's the difference between you and a B2C commerce platform?
Okay, very, very good question. I think just now I've covered quite a bit about that. The problem I find in the B2B space is that if you want to go online as a B2B supplier, if I'm selling to the likes of Shell, to the likes of the government and all that, there isn't really a platform where they can reach out to these businesses, because these businesses don't buy on Lazada, don't buy on Q10. Maybe they do individually, but not in a corporate basis. How we differentiate ourselves is we build a trusted network where we verify every single one of you that you are a registered business, you are selling authentic products, and you're not just selling some shady products from China, right? That you brand it as 3M, but actually it's not 3M, right? That it happens in a lot of all these B2C commerce platform. And that's one of the problems that I faced in my previous job. And that's why I think the key is that we have a verified network of suppliers that businesses can trust to trade with. And that's the key.
That's one of your value proposition. You should highlight that, because I wrote it down as well. Would you be authenticating suppliers? Because I know some of us are shy to admit, but I'm not. Have you been scammed before? Yes. Right? And big, small, whatever, but more the B2C side. So you do authenticate suppliers.
Yes, we do authenticate suppliers. There's actually a 3-part process to the supplier onboarding. First of all, you have to register and submit your ACRA, which is sort of the government document, right? When we want to register a company, we will then do a background check on the company, whether it be the years of incorporation, what kind of products do you sell, what is your paid up capital, who are the directors behind. All these are done by our verified network partnership with some of the data company that we can take and check, verify certain profiles, whether it be company level, etc. The third part is our salespeople will actually, pre-COVID era, we are able to visit warehouse and check what are you really selling. But now, of course, it's done via Zoom, done via Microsoft Teams. Then they just show us the warehouse. So after that three-part process, you are able to sell on our platform.
Logan, you also know that in your experience, a lot of times when a business wants to buy from another business, they have this traditional thing called an approved vendor list.
Yes.
How does Easy help, vendors, suppliers get past that?
So that's a very good question. The very fact is that we register all the large enterprises. They actually register us as the approved vendor, and we represent all the 800 different suppliers as the approved vendor. So you don't need to individually go and adopt and pitch to all these large enterprises that you want to be in the approved vendor list, right? Because by selling on our portal, Easy represents you as the official approved vendor to connect with the large enterprises, and that reduces the workload that you guys have to do to even market out or sell to large enterprises.
By so saying, are you there for letting the suppliers abdicate their legal responsibility to Easy?
No, actually we not.
Okay.
We have of course a list of terms and conditions that you guys have to abide to. There are penalties, like we will flag out like certain violations. There are certain rules, which I shall not go too deep into details.
Sure.
And if you want to know more, we can actually go through a one-to-one session, either with me or with my seller team, that we can guide you along.
No, that's a very fair comment, right? You cannot be, assuming responsibility for all the legal stuff that your suppliers are doing. You can't, but
yes,
to a certain degree, you can, right?
Yeah.
So at this juncture, I just want to kind of quickly summarize it a little bit, not closing, but summarizing to say, if I'm a business and I want to list my products for sale, I do it through Easy as a platform. And what you would do is you would authenticate me as a supplier.
Yes,
you
you're
would
right.
therefore assume the approved vendor thing, because Easy should be the approved vendor from whoever that wants to buy, because they're buying directly from Easy, not from ABC company, right?
Yeah.
But with a certain level of agreement. Next question is, you brought up the MOU with Shenzhen and all that as a good, clear example. Now, if my business does not exist in China, do I therefore require to register in China before I can even partake in that agreement?
Yep. So you don't need to register in China, and neither do we. So that's why earlier on I shared the beauty of digital platform is that we can do just API integration, and you are able to access the whole ecosystem in China or whichever country that we partner with. The key is that as this scales up, Easy will also represent a lot of suppliers to register in China. So you don't have to do it individually. Previously, traditionally, if you guys were to expand overseas, you have to find dealers, do joint ventures, you have to navigate the incorporation or legal within the country itself. And that's very taxing and super tedious, right? And for us, we hope to do it as a representative for all these suppliers and use the digital platform as a way to connect to the ecosystem there. And of course, that's not happening now. But as we grow, as we see more traction, we're able to expand our presence overseas in a more streamlined manner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see people like AliExpress and Carousel becoming one of your competitors?
We'll never know, right? If you have seen, I'll bring actually a very good example of Amazon. Amazon started 20, 30 years ago, right? 20, 30 years ago as a consumer platform, mainly for individuals like me and you. But about 5 years ago, the reason why I believe so much in Easy and the model of the pain point I'm trying to solve, right, is that Amazon 5 years ago started this platform called Amazon Business. And this Amazon Business essentially almost identical to what we are doing, but in the B2B ecosystem. They created a separate platform to serve the businesses. And that's what we are doing. a lot of things that we do, you do not see on a buyer side. Because on the buyer side, we create systems, we create features catered for businesses. And that's how we differentiate ourselves with the likes of AliExpress, the likes of Carousel, where if a business they want to buy, just one very good example, if they want to buy through AliExpress or Carousel, they have to take out their credit card and to swipe their credit card to make purchase for every single purchases. And imagine you are doing 900 purchases a month. You can't swipe 900 times, right? And that's add on to your operational burden. And the fact is that we are able to take on credit terms, which is to large enterprises for them to purchase 900 times, but yet at the end of the month, we do a statement consolidation.
Consolidated.
Yeah. So this is one very good example of how we differentiate ourselves. We give credit rules to large enterprises. Of course, we have our own checks. Yeah.
So it sounds like a dream come true. Last question in the interest of time.
Yep, sorry, we need to wrap up soon. Yeah.
Okay. What is preventing SMEs from using Easy? Why? Yeah.
I will say that like typically a lot of times the biggest pushback that I've heard is transparency of price. So I will typically when I speak to a lot of our suppliers that I've convinced to go online is that like I said earlier, right, the globalization is happening, right? Whether it be COVID or post-COVID era, and the world is getting smaller. So people who are afraid of displaying their price, the matter of fact is that the time is going to come, right, where everything will be more transparent, everything will be a lot more seamless to trade. So if you're afraid, you should actually think about the value proposition between your company products and other company products so that we serve as a platform to help you market your products to the end businesses. So I think that's something that a lot of businesses have not get over with. There's no value proposition in terms of or clear value proposition in terms of their products or services. And I think the very key is to really focus on that, get it settled, and you're not afraid of transparency, right? Yeah, so that's the biggest pushback that I've heard.
With those very good words, and it's basically back to basic. What is your value proposition? But in a digital world. Thank you very much, Logan.
Thank you, Daniel.
I'm sure the participants will find it very, very interesting. And for people who wants to contact it, please go through Chambers or just go to easy.com.sg and you can find Logan there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That, we come to the final speaker, Mr. Derek Tong. Finally, not a ton. Derek is the general manager of, hopefully I pronounced this correctly, Create Tech Private Limited, a technology innovation company that focuses on developing domain-specific, specialized systems and solutions, particularly in the environmental health industry and Singapore's first integrated rodent risk management. You hear that correctly. Rodent management, risk management company. Interesting year because this is the year of the rat. And Derek has garnered over 10 years of business development experience across various industries, bringing with him valuable understanding on areas such as branding, advertising and marketing, mobile applications, project management, and food and beverages. So let us bring on the rodent killer, Derek.
Hi, good morning. Well, still morning for now. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, really thank you to SMEICC for this opportunity. We are really humbled to be here to share with fellow SMEs, partners, friends about our organization's journey and experiences. I really hope you will be able to take away with you, something of value that you can apply to not just your company, but also to yourselves as well. Okay, so I'll jump straight into my presentation. I believe time is running short, so I will make this a very condensed sharing and really for everybody to hopefully take some pointers away. So talking about really straight to the point about pandemic resilient digitalization. Just a quick some people get confused. There are two companies involved here. So Create Tech and Origin. Origin is actually a company of more than 45 years handling in pest control, urban and tropical pest control management. So we have always been believing in continual adoption of really innovative and environmentally sustainable techniques and practices in how we service our clients. And then we are very proud to be the first pest control operator in the world to be certified with ISO 14001. So this is the Environmental Management Systems ISO. So what it means is we talk about pest controllers. First thing that comes to mind is the amount of chemical usage that we put into the earth on an everyday basis. So how do we really reduce the need to use chemicals in the treatments that we provide for our clients? We talk about biological treatments and methods, and really about data-driven processes. And this has always been one of our principles, to be really, a few principles we have being environmentally friendly, but also data-driven. So talking about with data, you're really talking about a whole lot of things that you can do with it. Benchmarking, you can start to be able to address your early stage, you can go straight to the source, and most important is to be proactive and predictive instead of being reactive. And now in the times of COVID, we're talking about flattening the curve. So we're talking about flattening the curve for any kind of issue or problems that we face in the pest management industry. Now, share with you how Origin over the decades, the things that we have done in terms of digital. Most of you, especially those around my age at least, you know what is the PALM PDA, right? We started using this on field instead of using manual paper, right? To use PALM to collect data for the work we done for rodents. So with this, then we bring the PDA back to the office to upload to the server. Then came Wi-Fi, mobile Wi-Fi. That's when directly the data on field can be sent directly to our server. And immediately we can collate and analyze the data. Then back in 2012, we actually started innovation on how do we improve productivity for our technicians when they go on field when it comes to rodent control. So we actually developed sensors to give real-time notification when a trap is activated. This is something you probably be seeing quite a lot now for those in the industry. And then that's when actually CreateTech was formed in 2013. Very centric on technology. So Origin is the pest control, the brick and mortar professional services arm. And we segregated technology from Origin, and CreateTech was formed to fund this. Now, some of you might have heard of RedSense. This is our leading main product brand, talking about rodent risk management. So this, at first, when this was developed, we were really talking about how do we improve and quantify what Origin is doing when it comes to rodent control. And it's also as a way of differentiating ourselves from the hundreds of pest control companies out there in Singapore, right? Now, move forward now to the present year. We are talking about how do we digitalize. We have, since even 10 years ago, we have talked about how do we digitalize our core business functions. Right now, you're talking about your accounts, your CRM, your marketing, your scheduling operations for companies like ours. We have moved on into various market available platforms that we are using to integrate. Now, all these platforms are modular, so they can be integrated and talk to each other. So we are actually using this system now to really improve our operations and our processes. The other thing that we have done is we are, being a professional services company, we have a lot of staff. So this stuff, especially in the professional services, you need to be constantly upgraded and to learn new things. So we have adopted this system called Nobi. So it's an e-learning platform which they give bite-sized modules for our staff, current ones and new hires, to learn wherever and whenever they are. As opposed right now, you have to come back to the classroom and conduct lessons with a lecturer. So what we also did was we developed in-house modules and also programs which are, of course, to our maybe understanding or accent or things like that, for the staff to really know, better pick up this information and skills. And we are also looking at making them available in multi-languages, so potential overseas market export. Now, how do we do it? There are 3 key pointers I would like to share. One of them is the key thing which we felt is very important is the mindset. Now, SMEs, we all are considerably smaller than us, right? We are agile, and that's our advantage, to be able to respond quick to market changes, especially in this times, things really change and move very fast. Now, technology to me and digitalization, they are just enablers, but it is us, the humans, that make use of these tools to really be able to do better and do more. And now talking about how you need to implement all these tools that are available. So for us, like I mentioned earlier, we talk about integration of our core business functions. And for any business, really, sales, revenue is the lifeblood. Without sales, you're better off not operating a business. So right now, also maybe cater to some of the questions that I've seen earlier about digital marketing. How do you reach out to customers? Right now, we make use of digital marketing platforms, especially now with really a proliferation of data and availability of data and analytics to really better understand the market. You want to be able to respond quickly with targeted service offerings that will really, really connect with the buyers. And the last point, of course, since the COVID circuit breaker, talking about how do you continue to operate as a business. So for us, all of our office-bound staff, they are now able to work remotely. You know, everybody has a laptop. We have implemented a VPN system, cloud phone system. So phone calls, customer inquiries, and support, we are able to answer to them. And for our staff that are out on the field, the technicians, they are all equipped with smartphones and devices to check their schedules. They will be able to file their reports, request for supplies, and most importantly, to communicate both internally and to the clients. So now talking a bit more about CreateTech, it's a subsidiary of Origin. As a tech company, you're always talking about innovation. So we started off just a quick kind of a journey. We started in 2013 to develop really technology-related systems to help improve Origin's operations. And as we were doing R&D in technology, we managed to commercialize RedSense, being the first rodent monitoring system in the world, just collecting data on rodent activity and movement. And back then, it was only Wi-Fi. So you had your gateways and routers that will talk to these individual sensors that are detecting the rodents. And most of our clients at that point in time, they were only using RedSense as a system. Now we're also talking about, instead of just monitoring and collecting data, how about you still want to you still want to catch the rodents, right? So that's when the services, professional services come in, and we do offer that. Origin do use RedSense as part of their service offerings. And you're talking at integrated pest management, but that took up 5% of the users of RedSense. Just kind of a video, maybe a bit iffy for some of you, but to be honest, don't worry, there's no living thing was hurt in this video, all right? So just to share with you something that we don't see, most of us probably don't see every day, but it's happening in the false ceilings of pretty much most of the buildings in the world, okay? Now rodents, we put traps. Traditionally, traps are used to catch rats. But as you can see here, rodents are actually highly intelligent, and they would be able to take baits without actually triggering a trap. And okay, so for RedSense, just for the key value proposition, people will be asking, like I mentioned earlier, we want to kill rats. We don't care about where they are or the information that you're going to give me about where they are moving around and all that. But really, if we're just happily putting traps all over, why are we still facing the problem that we are facing now for decades and centuries? So it's always been, the current practice has always really been, how do we be better? So RedSense, we're really talking about coming out with a system that really meets what the market has failed to address. It's about really being objective, providing the real-time information. With that, you can be proactive, and you can also be targeted in our treatments. Instead of randomly putting out your trapping devices, we are able to go to the areas where they are only active through the data from the system to be able to be more effective. And of course, you're talking about flattening the curve. You always need to be at the early stage part instead of near the end when its infestation has blown out of proportion. Just a quick back to the timeline. 2017, we actually are the first, again in the world, to be on this technology called low power wide area networks. For those in the industrial 4.0 ecosystem, you would have heard of Sigfox or even NB-IoT. NB-IoT is driven by the 3 telcos in Singapore. Sigfox is a French technology, but it's global. And we're talking about increased scalability, durability, and deployability of your sensor systems. They are remotely placed. And last but not least, we also have struck up strategic partnerships with, within the ecosystem that allows us to have that global reach. In this particular instance, I'm talking about SMEICC, which has a really global market. And apologies, just a bit of, we're quite proud in the sense where being a really a small SME, small startup in that sense, we are quite honored to be recognized as one of the top 15 in OCBC Emerging Enterprise back last year, before the COVID hit. Now, right now, what are the plans that we already have been putting in place? And now we are talking about the new normal. Remote monitoring, whether it's rodents, we're talking about machinery, people, is the new normal now. We're talking about reducing human interaction. We're talking about increased productivity, which is something that we've always been talking about, even the government level. We're also talking about collaborations with Institute of Higher Learning, both locally and overseas, to come up with new service and technology offerings that will be not just rats, but other pests. These pests in general, they are a global problem, right? So when you are able to solve a global problem, you will have that global demand. And we're also looking, of course, looking at mobile applications. Now, just when we started off with RadSense, it was just, like I mentioned, for origin to quantify our service. But what happened was, once we have developed it with Sigfox LP1's technology, we're actually able to look at really going international with our product. So we are now in Singapore and Australia, New Zealand, France. Pre-COVID times, we were planning on these locations. What I'm showing you here are actually, we are not there yet. We have a lot of demand, interest from these countries, and there are still some more that have not been able to add on. But it shows us the potential that we have yet to fulfill, but we believe that it is something that will continue to drive us. Now, SMEs, really, we may be small, but they're really, we can really think big, right? And these are the four kind of areas that we believe that if we have that capability to go global. Like I mentioned, the most important thing is the mindset. And the management will lead the way. Encourage innovation, encourage your staff to make mistakes. We learn from the mistakes and we grow. If somebody doesn't make a mistake, that means they haven't tried anything new. And talking about management of change, this is a very important part for any organization. You need to get the staff on board to really embrace the change and the digitalization that you are implementing, so to maximize both the potential of the digitalization, but also of your staff and your company. And in every one of us, we have the domain expertise, right? We know the problems and the gaps of our industry very, very intricately, very, very closely. So we can really think and create new ways and solutions to solve these problems. And with that, okay, I mean, we have faced questions of how do you, I've seen an earlier poll question about small companies, we do not have the resources, right? A lot of us, when we talk about creating something, we want to have it in-house. But instead of in-house, it's always potential to look at outsourcing it, working with specialists who has the domain, who has their own domain knowledge in what you want to create, right? And this gives you the speed to market. We talk about speed in development, we're talking about speed to commercialization, and this is very important in this day and age. Now, okay, I'm reaching the end of my presentation. Just like to leave this quote with everyone, and hope you really be able to take back with you a nugget of insight, you know, to understand what, just like you, a fellow SME, you know, what has driven us in our journey, what we have done, how we have gone about with it, and what really drives us. And we hope that you'll spark something for you, you know, and that leap of faith to improve your organization. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek. Good story. I think, you know, what I drew from it is really, you know, with a good idea, a Singapore-based SME can also conquer the world, right? So it gives...
Just trying to, yes.
Yes, you know, there's always the next step and the next step and the next step, right?
That's right.
So, but it's a great start. Let me see. I think there is a question. Does Origin has a strong IT team to begin with? How did it arrive at the decision to do its own systems? Because a lot of times that is, you know, one big hurdle. Would it be cheaper to go for a ready-made solution, especially when cloud solutions are cheap in these times?
Definitely in these times, we have a lot of cloud solutions you're talking about. Okay, back to your first question. Origin, we do not have an in-house team to manage our infrastructure. This function is actually outsourced as with quite a bit of our processes and certain functions. And this has always been a way, because for us, there was no need for that. The current infrastructure is not that extensive. So outsourced would actually be more efficient in that way. However, this may change should a decision be made where we will scale up our operations. Now, at the time when you mentioned we were doing our own systems with GreyTech when it was first formed, there wasn't any ready-made ones that would cater to our specific needs in this pest management industry. This was easily 6 to 7 years ago. But right now, with plenty of solutions in the market that are cloud-based, we have indeed subscribed to some of this, like if you've seen in earlier slides, like HubSpot and Zero. So these are really part of our integration. And like I mentioned, they are modular. So we really expect more solutions, new ones to come up in the market in the future. And being modular, we can really upgrade or switch any of these functions seamlessly. So that is what we SMEs should really take advantage of.
In your experience, Derek, going global is a huge step for not just SMEs, but a lot of even big enterprises. Any good advice on, for SMEs that are exploring to go global?
Okay, I mean, for those in the industry, especially for professional services, you're talking about where you need the human resource, the person, right? It's really tough to go global where you need to train and set up a new team and all that. So for us, when we're talking about going global, we're talking about RedSense, because Origin is still a very localized professional service provider. We do have a joint venture in Thailand, but at this point in time, that's about it. Whereas for RedSense, you're talking about the potential to go global. It was really a very accidental occurrence in a sense, where it was triggered by conversations with an investment banker who is rather IT savvy. That was back in 2016. So when we would develop RedSense, we're just talking about a few thousand of these devices to service a local market. And then he actually opened up the idea in our eyes to the potential of the global potential of it. And the real catalyst for us is, and in a sense, we were quite lucky that to be able to go global, not just for having key iconic clients, was the fact that I mentioned earlier about latching on this Industrial 4.0 enabler called LP1 technology, low power wide area network technology, one of them being Sigfox technology. So as I mentioned, they are a global player. So this global Sigfox is a global network, and they are operator of this network in over 70 countries. Now for us, when we develop our devices to be able to leverage on this network, it immediately means that our devices can work in any of the countries that Sigfox has a network coverage in. So immediately from a local Singapore-based provider, we can actually sell to any of the 70 countries in the world for RedSense. So, and also the first step that we went global was, the nearest was to Australia. So when the opportunity opened up, a very established pest control company in Australia actually wanted to use RedSense. We were immediately ready to provide the system to them without redeveloping any parts, components, or getting additional certifications. So other than the normal business discussions, all you needed for us to impart, to sell to them was really the technical trainings that were really simple to understand, because our system, as much as the development was a bit more complicated, the implementation and the usage of it is we keep it as simple as possible. And then of course a network where data is needed to be sent from the devices to the server, the network is already readily available for us to use our devices.
So it's through collaboration, and it's through the ability to map.
Yes, to have a system, a solution that you are part of an ecosystem, a global ecosystem where they are able to help you, where your system, your product, your system can be used in other countries as well.
Great. So technology kind of normalize it for you as well.
That's right.
Because it will, therefore it needs to probably, if I may, coming from the technology background, a globally accepted technology layer.
That's right.
For you to put on your products. My other question is with IoT and with detection. In this case, you use it to catch rats.
Well, we
What
don't
do
catch
you-
rats. We use it to detect the presence of rats.
Okay. Pardon my
There's a
mistake.
there's actually a big confusion there still, but we are been trying to educate for the past 3 years. But yeah.
So, what do you think other things can be done with this IoT detection technology?
Okay, I think especially those in the IoT industry would know that definitely IoT is going to disrupt a lot of industries. You know, any industry that relies heavily on manpower, you know, those with tasks that can be automated, they are already being disrupted by technology, right? IoT, for those who may not know, Internet of Things, is really defined as system of devices, whether it's mechanical or digital, with the ability to send real-time data over the network without any human interaction. So with this IoT, this term, we're really talking about real-time data, which previously we are not able to collect. But now with IoT, it has enabled a lot of industries to be able to collect that real-time data. Sensors are the ones that collect the data, for example. So from all this data that's been collected, transmitted, and received, we are able to act and use this data more efficiently for the operations, for the business. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, good. Let me check if there's any other questions. If not, then any other things, Derek, you want to share with our participants?
You know, I think I'll leave it as it is now. I think we pretty much overran the time, so I want to be able to don't want to delay.
Help us catch up, right?
Yes, I don't
so
want to be the obstacle between our attendees and our guests and their lunch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So with that, thank you very much, Derek. I just want to spend the next 2 minutes to kind of wrap up. One is, you have seen the efforts put together by the government agencies, chamber, in this case, championing the SMEs' interest in digital transformation, in digitalizing your business. Combining that, you've got grants, you've got agencies that would help you go, you know, part of the way. And then we've got Easy, who's a platform that you could tap into that would be able to help you, you know, become digital almost tomorrow, almost as fast as you say easy, right? And then you've got Derek showing you that it is not impossible for a small company in Little Red Dot to take on the world. And, you know, with all the awards and all the firsts that he has achieved with his company, you know, Create Tech and Origin, you know, in doing this. So all in all, I think as a purpose and an objective, as what Chamber tries to do year in, year out for the last, I don't know, 20, 25 years, in helping SMBs understand what is available. To the question, we don't know what we don't know, how to leverage what is available. You know, there are now technology that has advanced that you don't have to even lift a finger, but only subscribe to make use of. And last but not least is, you know, that whole passion of wanting to conquer the world out of Little Red Dot, and all signs pointing to it to be possible. So with that, again, thank you so much for attending this virtual one. Hopefully next year we'll be able to see each other face to face. And I will pass it back to Chris. Chris?
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Derek, as well, for the earlier fire chat. And also our special thanks to Prof. Tan as well as Logan for joining us in today's session. I believe that everyone has actually gained some inspiration and new knowledge to take their business forward. So with that, to those who are actually keen to sign up for SCCI membership, please do take note of this special offer that we have till 21st of September. So we have now come to the end of this session. Please let us know your feedback and comments on SMEICC Live through the feedback survey. You may actually scan the QR code on screen or follow the redirect link after you have closed this session.